Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a really deep dive into the fascinating journey of data across the Internet of Things. We're going to explore exactly how billions of physical devices somehow manage to talk to the cloud. It's an invisible world functioning all around us right now, and honestly, the engineering behind it is absolutely incredible.
I want you to just think about the sheer scale of this for a second. We're talking over 9 billion connected things active in the world today, with expectations to hit 20 billion in the near future. So, how does physical reality actually translate into digital data and navigate this incredibly massive network? Well, it's definitely not magic. It relies on some highly structured architecture.
So here's our agenda for today. First, we'll map out the architecture of IoT. Next, we'll look at sensing the physical world. Then it's on to edge and fog computing, followed by IoT communication protocols, and finally, we'll wrap up with the challenges in sensor networks.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the architecture of IoT and visualizing the big picture.
You know, the Internet of Things isn't just one single uniform network. It's a massive ecosystem. It spans everything from automotive transport and smart agriculture all the way down to specific edge devices monitoring industrial assets. All of these incredibly diverse physical elements are seamlessly connecting through foundational architectural layers. Instead of the Internet just being about us humans interacting with media, IoT brings physical objects into the fold. It literally turns them into intelligent actors that can support complex business processes and generate real-world knowledge. To make sense of all that complexity, the journey of data actually relies on the pretty straightforward three-step architecture. First up is the perception layer, which collects real-world data using physical sensors. Second is the aggregation or bus layer, which brokers those communications, taking that newly digitized data and prepping it for transit. And third, the network layer delivers the whole shebang to the cloud for heavy processing, storage, and application use.
Okay, moving on to Section 2. Let's look at sensing the physical world, basically the senses of IoT. Sensors are literally the eyes, ears, and nerves of our entire system. They're constantly detecting physical, chemical, or biological parameters right out of the environment. For example, a gyroscope sensor detects the angular velocity of a moving object, while gas sensors like the MQ-02 and MQ-05 can literally sniff out things like carbon monoxide or smoke. You've got ultrasonic sensors bouncing sound waves to calculate distance, and light-dependent resistors measuring brightness. In a fraction of an instant, these tiny components capture real-world phenomena and instantly digitize our analog reality.
So, the real magic happens at the edge node. It's where data goes through a massive transformation. It starts over in the analog domain, where it's sensed and measured. Then it passes through an analog to digital converter, moving straight into the digital domain. Right there, the firmware steps in to interpret the signal, packages it all up, and securely connects it to a gateway via a radio frequency transceiver. This edge node is the exact spot where the physical world first becomes data. Which brings us nicely to Section 3, edge and fog computing, or what I like to call the brainstem of the network. Now, if we compare cloud and fog computing, there's a really vital structural difference. Cloud computing is incredibly powerful, sure, but it's remote, and that naturally leads to higher latency. Fog computing, on the other hand, deploys nodes right there on your office floor, on a factory assembly line, or even inside a moving vehicle. By keeping that processing decentralized and strictly local, fog computing significantly reduces latency and cuts way down on the massive bandwidth overhead that we'd get if we tried to send every single tiny sensor tick to a remote server.
Because, as you can see, intelligence truly starts at the edge. Multiple edge nodes can autonomously aggregate their data at a local gateway. Think about a smart factory for a second. If an IoT printer or a heavy piece of machinery detects a failure, it shouldn't have to ask a server halfway around the world what to do, right? The gateway processes that information locally, and it only makes the long, energy-intensive trip to the cloud server when it's absolutely necessary. That saves an unbelievable amount of power and network resources.
All right, let's explore how this data actually moves. Section 4, IoT communication protocols, the nervous system.
When we look at our wireless options, it's super clear there is no one-size-fits-all solution here. Wi-Fi offers fantastic, high bandwidth for enterprise and home environments, but man, it absolutely eats through power. On the flip side, you have Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE, and Zigbee. They are designed for completely different environments. They operate on sleep mode most of the time, just waking up for brief moments to transmit tiny bursts of data. That ultra-low power consumption is absolutely vital for battery-operated edge nodes, like medical wearables or smart energy meters.
To put that in perspective, look at a traditional Wi-Fi setup.
It easily connects multiple client stations to access points for heavy data loads, but its major limitations become really glaring in the IoT space. It completely lacks the coverage range and scalability required for sprawling deployments. Plus, that continuous active power draw makes it far less ideal for remote, battery-operated IoT sensor networks that literally need to last for years without anyone changing a battery.
But you know, in rugged industrial settings, wireless actually isn't always the best bet. In those environments, we often rely on wired serial buses. Take RS-232 or protocols like Modbus, for example. They provide an incredibly robust method for direct device polling. Now, it might be much slower, transferring data bit by bit sequentially, but in a super noisy factory environment where reliability is the name of the game, this lightweight, hardware-level communication is exactly what engineers need to guarantee the data actually gets delivered.
Now for the reality check. Let's get into Section 5, Challenges in Sensor Networks.
Because we aren't just dealing with simple coding bugs here, we're dealing with a staggering number of real-world physical hurdles. These autonomous nodes are severely battery-limited. They often rely on unreliable radio broadcasts, facing constant interference. They constantly have to filter out false positive sensor readings. And because of their size and power limits, they have highly limited computational power, making big, centralized algorithms completely useless. Developers are constantly playing this tug-of-war, trying to balance network performance against these harsh physical limitations.
To combat these crazy form factor constraints, engineers turn to extreme miniaturization. The goal is to squeeze the microcontroller unit, or MCU, and the radio frequency front end into microscopic system-on-chip packages. But, well, physics gets in the way. The smaller the device gets, the harder it proves to maintain decent antenna efficiency for wireless transmission. It is a constant tightrope walk between making the device smaller and ensuring it can actually broadcast its signal through all the noise.
But honestly, hovering over all of this physical and network design is the absolute biggest challenge of all. Despite all the amazing advancements in low-power computing and sensor accuracy, network security remains the primary barrier to massive industrial deployment. When you have billions of end nodes deployed out in the wild, each and every one represents a potential entry point for malicious actors. Securing a massive network where the devices often lack the computational juice for heavy encryption is just a monumental, ongoing task.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question to wrap up today's explainer. As we push the boundaries of miniaturization even further and move rapidly toward this ecosystem of 20 billion autonomous devices communicating constantly, how will we effectively secure the ever-expanding nervous system of our physical world? It's really the ultimate question for the next generation of IoT developers. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey today, and keep questioning how our world connects.